Their all-time greatest goal kicker, Taylor Walker, with a welcome off. Here's Roselli. Roselli kicks the goal.
Handball to the excitement machine, McLeod. Left foot goal.
Oh, don't tell me.
He's a superstar.
Don't tell me. Oh! He's yet to kick an AFL goal. Oh, the velvet curtain.
Walker, he's a colossus. He's kicked 5. He's been a handful. He's been the difference.
To cover himself in glory. Just coming back. And got there.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Proper Crows podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you may be watching or listening. Of course, this week we're going to be going through the disappointing loss on Friday night to the Western Bulldogs. Looking forward to this week's game against Geelong, your feedback, and much, much more. It's not just me here tonight, of course. I'm joined by Dom. How are you, mate?
Not too bad, mate. Slowly getting over the weekend. Still a bit raw, but we're getting there.
That's it. Just first bump in the road for the year, but that's all right. We move on. And Matt, how are you, mate?
Yeah, a lot better than I was after Friday's game. First regular season home loss in 600 days, but yeah, it is what it is. Bulldogs are a fantastic team. They deserve the win ultimately.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's at least some form of comfort that we didn't go down to some bum-ass team, and it was the Western Bulldogs who we were talking up a bit last week with their midfield. But yeah, is what it is. Don, what was the score on Friday night, mate?
So it was us 13-10-88 to the Dogs 14-10-94. Goal kickers, Tex kicked 3, Thiel, Rash and Fogg all with 2, Saligo, Rankin, Dawson and the almighty Jordan Butts with a single goal. Should have been 2, but we'll discuss that later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a game of footy. It's still a bit raw to talk about. It's very, very on brand of the Crows in recent years. The fight was there, which I think is good, and the Bulldogs are premiership favourites. We took it to them for, the last quarter at least. But even then, we were playing some pretty poor footy, and they never really got away from us, which I guess is a positive sign. And the fight back in the end was, brilliant to watch. Just didn't quite have the berries in the tank to get over the line, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, exactly right. I mean, it's frustrating looking back because I feel like the first at least 2.5 quarters we were playing some very, very slow football, and there's been plenty of commentary around it in the media, but we just couldn't move the ball forward. We're taking 15 kicks to get from D50 to forward 50, and then on the contrary, you watch the Dogs and they do it in 2 kicks, and I think that was the most frustrating part for me is we just couldn't get anything going and, take the game on in the last quarter and all of a sudden you kick 5 goals in a row, you hit the front, you're looking like well-beaters, and then, Oscar Baker, of all people, steps up to break the heart, and all the people in that squad to sink us, man.
Yeah, anyone else, bro. Genuinely anyone else. I don't know why. It just pissed me off. Like, I don't know why it annoyed me so much, but anyone but him. But yeah, it's frustrating. Like, to the Bulldogs' credit, I think they've a little bit forced us into that slow game because they probably did a pretty good job of forcing us to go around the middle rather than being able to go up the middle. And I guess early in the game, you probably don't want to take unnecessary risk going through the middle, and they kind of forced our hand in the last quarter. That was creepy.
That was well timed. That's accurate.
Nice. It's just like it's frustrating.
Sweet. Keep going.
If we had if we'd shot it's just such a common pattern of play the game how we want to play. It doesn't really work for us. We don't necessarily go out of the game, but the oppo definitely has the upper hand. And then in the last quarter, it's like, okay, let's go. Play your natural footy. Let's go. Move the ball fast. And lo and behold, against the premiership favourite, we kick 5 in a row. And it's frustrating, and it's hard to really narrow down what the issue is, I guess, because it could be I think it's a mix of everything. It's a system issue. It's there's a little bit of onus on the players to I think they should be able to take the initiative to realize when they're on the back foot and try and take the game on a bit. But again, you're not inside the four
Yeah.
walls. You don't know what the coaching directive is, so it's hard to comment. And like you said, there's so much commentary around it. It's so obvious. Like when we move the ball fast, we look good, but we just keep trying to play this slow build up every now and then, and it just never works.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't know whether it's maybe a tactical thing of going, oh, some games you're not going to be able to move fast, and let's practice, the slow ball and moving it around. But clearly, it's not working. I mean, we saw it against the Pies in the first half, and then you turned on in the second half, and you win that game pretty easily in the end. And then on the weekend, yeah, you look shit for 3 quarters, and then you look really good in the last quarter. So I don't know. It's like you say, it's hard to know without being inside the four walls, but it's frustrating as hell as a fan to sit back and watch. I can tell you that much. Matt, what were your thoughts on the game, mate?
Oh yeah, like it was a pretty ordinary start of the game, seeing the first 3 goals. I think when you start a game poorly like that, it's going to bite you in the arse at some point. And ultimately, if that was the case in the end, we made a huge comeback in the last quarter. And I think that 8 to 10 minute burst in the last quarter, just the atmosphere is still ringing in my ears. I think that's one of the loudest crowds I've ever heard to this day at Adelaide Oval. With
Yeah.
Rankin putting us in front, Tex putting us in the game, kicking a goal to make margin 1 point. I think it was just obviously very unfortunate to lose when you're 6 points up. I was very confident after the Rankin goal that we would definitely avoid a defeat, but to concede those 2 late goals, very, very disappointing. And we'll reiterate what I said at the start. Our first loss at home where I've been able to scan my membership in 600 days, because Gather Round last year we lost to Geelong at home, so obviously that was our last regular season home loss.
Yeah,
It's a nice start. I
yeah.
like that.
There's a very, very good stat. Well,
Yeah.
it's a massive cope, but
Yeah,
we'll lean on it,
it
mate.
is.
We'll lean on it. But yeah, it's disappointing. But we weren't embarrassed. We didn't go down to a Richmond or a Port or a West Coast or a North or something like that. But it's just disappointing, obviously. But we'll see how the boys respond this week, and there'll be a few new challenges that arise after a few injuries from last week. But we'll get to that a little bit later on. Changes to the squad. Obviously, Isaac Rankin came back in for Toby Murray, who was out with a bit of a back issue. And very late in the piece, Hugh Bond with some illness went out, and Chase Jones came into the squad. What are our standouts from the ins and outs, fellas? I mean, Isaac was a little bit rusty to start with. That was to be expected, and obviously showed up in the last quarter and kicked an Isaac Rankin type goal, stealing Eddie Betts' pocket, I think the commentary was. And then Chase Jones was interesting. He had 22 touches in the end, but
Interesting.
look, I don't think he's earned his spot.
No, not a chance. Like Rankin, I think rusty's definitely the right word. Seemed like a step behind at the start. He worked into the game quite well. Obviously kicked that goal in the last quarter that put us in front. And it kind of felt like that was the moment that we were going to run over the top and we were going to keep the momentum. Obviously didn't finish that way. But yeah, kind of expected, I think. I don't think anyone that had expectations of him to come back and have 30 and 3 were probably a bit far-fetched given his lack of game time through the legs and stuff. But he'll build into it slowly. And then the elephant in the room, C. Jones. I got nothing to say, bro. 22 of the most useless disposals I've ever seen. He had 2 good moments, and they weren't even good moments. They were just good for Chase Jones standard. I don't think he plays next week.
Well, I think he will,
I'm a hater,
because Laird will not be playing next week. I think, this week I should say, game's in 2 days or 3 days. So I think Chase probably holds his spot in the team for that alone. Archie, the obvious one, 7 weeks. I think it will be the length of duration there. It's not looking good after that. Playing in that meaningless State of Origin game, obviously very vocal on the chats about my thoughts of the State of Origin. It's proven to once again cost multiple players injuries. Got Matt Rowell hasn't played a game yet. Wiedering, very lucky not to be injured long term there, but yeah, that's a rant for another day. But unfortunately, very predictably, Archie has had 2 hamstring injuries already, one in the preseason, one from the State of Origin game, and then third one on last week. So very unlucky start to his career at the Crows, and it's disappointing because he started to play decent football right up until the injury. Because I thought it was I'll be honest, it was a very poor 3 quarters from him. Like, did not set the game alight at all. But I think he's still working around to find exactly where he's going to suit in this Adelaide Crows team. But yeah, right when he started putting the ball on the string, that fist to get the ball moving to Dawson, takes a mark and kicks a goal. It was all looking very promising, and then bang, injured, very predictable.
Yeah. 3 minutes
Yeah.
later, yeah.
Yep.
It's a very Adelaide
Yeah.
Crows moment, isn't it?
Yep.
Incredibly so. Yeah, we'll see him back in 6 to 8 weeks apparently. So hopefully he gets himself right, and that's the last hamstring injury he does for us. Because 3 already in the space of 4 months is less than ideal to say the least.
Yeah, not great.
We'll talk about Lockie McAndrew now, because he was very good again on the weekend. I think I was saying last week, if he splits the contest with Tim English, then that goes a long way to winning. I think he split the contest. He probably almost won the contest, to be
I was
perfectly
about to
honest
say,
with you.
I would almost say he beat him. He was unbelievable. He was a slow start, but once he worked into the game and found his feet, he was unbelievable. Even just in the ruck, like, it's such a stark difference. And I don't like talking shit about Rob, because as much as I didn't want him in the team, he was quite a good ruckman for a very long time there. Game just kind of got away from him, but it's such a stark difference going from Rob, who can barely get off the ground, to seeing someone like McAndrew jump over the top of Tim English and win a tap in the middle. It's a very nice change, an unfortunate one, because like I said, I think we discussed it earlier in the year, like, now that Rob's actually gone, there's a little bit of like, not guilt or something, I don't know, but it's a nice breath of fresh air. And I think it honestly solved a little bit of the midfield problem. There's still something there. But now that they've got a better chance at getting first access, I think the midfield looks better now than it did last year still.
Oh, big time. Yeah, 100%. I mean, looking at the stats, what do you have? He had 38 hit outs. He had 6 clearances of his own, 200 metres game with his kicks. 13 touches, 7 kicks, 6 handballs. He took a couple of marks, had a couple of tackles. Like, it was a really nice all-around game from the big fella. Like you said, there's that feeling of feeling bad for Rob, but at the same time, it's very obviously a good move for the midfield. And you look at our clearance numbers there; they were up a bit. You had Dorse with 8, Berry's getting first use of the footy. Solly looked good through the midfield again. It's a positive move. So big Lockie Mack going into the ruck, I think, is a very, very positive move. I'm very happy with that. He didn't tire out as much on Friday night as he did against the Pies, so that was also positive to see. Obviously, building his base pretty well.
So once he develops a tank, he's like, because he still only played, I think it was still only about 75% time on ground. I can't remember exactly. If he gets up to 85, 90, like some of the like premier ruckman, he's going to be like a serious player for a long time, I reckon. I'm pretty sure. Is he the one that we poached from Norwood? Because if we did, Cope, Norwood.
Yeah.
Yeah, he copped that.
Yeah. No, he is. Yeah, we poached him from Norwood, so did very well with that.
Thanks, Ogilvy.
Yep, slower. I reckon that's the first thanks Reed, thanks Ogilvy for this year. That's good to get that rolling. Speaking of players who have been good for a very long time as well, we're going to talk about Taylor Walker here for a minute, because this man doesn't stop. He's kicking goals from 60 still. He's running around doing all sorts of stuff. He just how does he keep doing this? He's 35 years old and he's just still one of the premier forwards in the comp.
Oh, straight up, like, it blows my mind that he's still going. We were making jokes like, 2024, that Sydney game was the retirement tour, and now he's played a full season, going on for another one, and he's playing like he did on the weekend. Like, it's astounding. Like, even just looking back on where he was 5-6 years ago, he was written off, and comes back, has an All-Australian year, still solid last year, and then he's probably still outperforming Darcy Fogarty, which is another conversation. But you can't really be happier with where he's sat in terms of Any doubt, I guess, we had over whether or not he should have played another year, I think that's kind of dissipated now. And like, they manage his body well, which I'm assuming they will based on the news that we'll talk about later on. I think he's still got a very big career ahead of him, whether it's only this season or maybe one more. We'll see at this rate. But yeah,
Yeah.
can't ask for much more from the big fella.
Yeah, I reckon he'll
Nah,
probably go for another
absolutely.
year. He'll probably go for another year. We can't lose the great man. Like, we'll be stuck with Fogarty, who's going to be taking the best defenders at the second or third. It's Phil Thorpe is going to be more playing ruck into forward line. We just cannot lose the great man, and you just got to hope that the likes of Finbar Marley, who we will be mentioning right now because we may as well, named in the team for this Thursday night, playing his first game of the Crows. Very, very tall option, nearly 200 centimetres, so he can play in that ruck role as well. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, I think. Debuting in Geelong is the hardest away trip in football. And yeah, just hopefully we can get something out of this guy because, yeah, we got him virtually for nothing from North Melbourne.
But it's a
Yeah.
big call debuting him on the road and against Geelong on Thursday night, primetime footy. But, you got to back in the big fella. Like I said when we drafted him, I don't really know much about him. I know he kicked 3 in the sample trial, and which is probably a good thing because based on all reports, it was his kicking that was letting him down. His hands were never really an issue or anything. He was just a bit of a wayward kick. So, if he can sort that out, I'm sure he'll be more than handy for us. And I'm keen to see how the big fella goes because obviously you assume we're resting Tex and we're not taking him over there. So I don't know if I agree with, but that's beside the point. Yeah, I'm excited. I'll back in the big fella.
Yeah. I think his role will depend on as well is Toby Murray is still listed as a test for this week. So if Muzz plays, you imagine that he probably just replaces Tex straight up. Maybe if
Yeah.
Muzz doesn't play, he's more of that ruck, chop out, leave Thilthorpe up forward a bit more maybe. I don't know. It's an interesting call this week. It obviously depends a little bit on the injuries, but I'm excited to see the big Finn running around, mate. He's got good hands. Like you said, the question was on his kicks, but he's got good hands. I reckon he can be a very handy pickup, especially for the price of a 4th round draft pick or whatever it was we sent North's way. And actually, we got a draft pick back from him as well for that pick. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how the big Finn comes out on Thursday night.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about, like around Toby Murray, especially just because we bought him up, based on the ruck mix. I really hope there was something wrong with his back because I feel like not playing him was a bit of a misstep in terms of being able to leave Thilthorpe one out in the 50, basically the whole game.
Yep.
Obviously, it said manage, and then it was reported that he had back tightness or soreness or something, which I guess you can't really do much about. But my initial reaction before that news came out was kind of like, oh, I don't know about that. Like managing him after one game seems a bit rough, and like I don't know if it would have made a difference because we were barely getting the ball inside 50 anyway in the first few quarters. But yeah, just something I thought about a bit over the weekend. Whether that selection was a bit of a balls up, but again, if he's injured, you can't do much.
Yeah. No, exactly right. I'm sure there was probably something going on there, and that's why he was, rested towards, and hopefully he gets back for this week. So, I mean, who's Geelong ruck? I don't even know who they run with
They
these
don't have
days.
one.
They've got this new ruckman.
Yeah.
Is it
Oh
Edwards?
yeah,
I might be wrong.
Mitch Edwards.
That's the one.
No, you're right.
Yeah, so
He was the one that
Yeah,
he
go on.
played for Freo's. He was linked to Freo or some shit, and then he ended up at Geelong. 'Cause it was like they were like trying to amp it up as a grudge match when they played him. I was like, bro does not care, but all right.
I haven't seen him play yet if he has played, but from all reports from the Geelong fan I know, apparently he's a very highly rated young ruckman. So he's be an interesting one. A bit of an experience against inexperience with McAndrew against him, but McAndrew obviously I think is going to kill him in ruck anyway. It's going to absolutely demolish him, and that's up to the midfielders to make the most of it.
Yeah, for my fantasy side, I truly hope so, as well as the end game result. So.
Big time, because there's a few casualties in the in fantasy land this week, mate. There's Yeah, too many
Yeah.
to go over at this point. We'll be talking all night about him. Next up, we're not going to blame the umpires per se, but we're going to have a quick chat about some decisions from Friday night. And one in particular I want to highlight, and we mentioned it earlier, Jordan Butts kicking for goal. Now, on a field that's, 170 metres long, you're on the centre wing, and you get a double 50-metre penalty. Where does that take you on the ground?
Yeah,
Because
you'd
I feel
think
like
it's
that's
top of
probably
the
the
goal
goal line.
square. Yeah, you'd think it's top of the goal square,
Yeah,
wouldn't you? But it's
yeah.
bro, he
What?
still should have kicked the goal. I'm just saying, like
He still, he still should have kicked it, but
he's a key defender, so I get it. But also, come on, bro. I probably would have missed as well. But I'm not paid fucking six figures to kick the ball, so
Yeah, but first goal in his 87th game, he was never kicking 2 goals in that one game. I can't think of many players who've gone that long without scoring a goal and then end up with 2 or 3 in the one night. So yeah, we'll let him off there. It was a generational performance from Butsy, and it's
it
it
was.
great to
was.
see him back in the team. It was very unlucky to even be out the team last year. We won, I think, 7 on the trot while he was in the side, while Nick Murray was out. And yeah, it's just it's a surprise that no clubs really went harder for him in the off-season. He's a real defender of value. He can shut down many good opposition players.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, obviously last year he went out after the thug Sam Darcy punched him in the kidneys and almost killed him. Jordan
Yeah.
just returned serve on Friday night and killed him instead because, I don't know, anyone seen Sam Darcy on Friday night other than the couple of soft free kicks he got? Or
Yeah, I was about to say, has anyone seen him? Because he didn't do much.
no,
But
pretty unsighted.
the rent free will continue. I don't care. He was garbage. I'm taking Taylor Walker over him every day of the week. I'm taking Riley Thilthorpe over him every day of the week. He's
Darcy
a free
Fogarty.
kick I'm taking. You know what? At least Fogg puts his body on the line. Darcy's a free kick merchant, and I'll
Yep,
die on that hill.
getting the
He
getting the
never
Charlie
gets.
gets the Charlie Curnow treatment. That guy.
Every
Yeah.
time he gets first hands to the ball, he drops it like 8 times out of 10, and the rest of the time he plays for a free kick, and the umpires love him, so he gets it. But
I think
I digress.
there's such a narrative set in stone to make this guy the next best thing, and it's just not working. And people outside of the little circles in Melbourne can see it.
Yeah, well said.
Yep. Yeah, very strongly agree.
Very well
So
said.
let's talk about Jordan Butts a little bit here because he broke the was it the intercept marking record, I think, for the club or the league or something. Rather, he took 12 marks
Wouldn't
in
have
the
been
end, had
league,
19
but
touches, obviously kicked the goal. Was the club. It must have been the club. I saw something about it on Saturday morning. It was just a huge game from him. He was everywhere. And we were standing there on the hill. Obviously, one of our mates who doesn't really do too much in terms of AFL fantasy had him sitting on the field, and we were like, well, why you got him out there? Well, Paul McKenzie,
yeah,
you are a genius, mate. That's why he
Yeah.
was sitting on the field.
about to
But
say he
I don't know.
outscored half my fucking team, so
Well, Butts
Yeah.
has had a better season so far than Connor Rosie. You know, rest in peace for the next 12 weeks, mate. But to any poor fans listening, you know, we don't really feel sorry for you, but we do feel for Connor. Get well soon, mate.
yeah, well
Yeah,
said, mate. Well
100%. Don't want to see any injuries in footy at all, but yeah, no, he has had a bit of fantasy season than Connor Rosie so far, unfortunately, but that's all right. Who else have we got on the stat sheet here who had a good game? Jordan Dawson had a
Oh,
Jordan Dawson game, 25, 7 tackles, a goal, back to his best.
I'm giving flowers where flowers are
Uh,
due. Sam Berry was absolutely unbelievable in midfield. He didn't necessarily have, he didn't
Great
rack
shout.
up, but some of his clearance work, I think he probably only ended on like 4 or 5 clearances, but they were bloody good clearances. Like that burst out of the pack, which I think we were missing, which kind of goes hand in hand with what we talked about last year, in that if he grows into the role, he's kind of a bit of a Matt Crouch type, but with like the speed to take it himself out of the packs. And I
Yeah.
think he had like 8 or 9 tackles. Like, he was unbelievable in there, and I just hope he finds consistency and he plays like that every week, because it will go a long way into solving, one of the most glaring issues we've got as a footy club, I reckon. But yeah, just unreal game from him. I don't think he could have done much more to get us over the line in the end.
Yeah. No, absolutely. his big thing is having a ruckman who can tap it to his advantage now, I think, because like we were saying
Yeah.
last week, he's got that speed, he just hasn't really had the chance to use it too much. Ended up with 22 touches, 17 kicks. He had 8 tackles, took 4 marks, 5 clearances, and a goal assist. It's a big game out of the guts from Sam Berry, and a bloke who, isn't the first person you think about being, an all-star in the midfield or anything like that. But he's becoming a very important cog in there at the moment, I think, and hopefully he can continue that form on, because he's been a little bit maligned through the fan base. Not as much as Matt Crouch was, but
Yeah.
he's been a bit maligned. It's good to see him getting some flowers from you, mate. And yeah, a good game. Hopefully he just keeps on rolling, really.
I bloody hope so, because like I said, I think everyone knows the midfield's the issue, and if he can find some consistency, it'll go a long way to, helping us move in the right direction with that midfield mix.
Yeah. Nah, absolutely. Before we move on to some feedback from the listeners, any other players that you boys want to highlight or touch on before we head forward?
I'd just like to point out, I know we've kind of already touched on it, but media was hyping up a big Darcy v Thilthorpe thriller, and I think Thilthorpe absolutely stomped him. So, yeah, just a quick shout out to the big man. I'm sure the Vic media aren't gonna, take into account actual game performance. They'll just look at the box score and assume it was a 0-0 draw. But anyone that watched the game knows that Riley had a much better game.
Yeah.
And as usual, Sam Darcy, lights were far too bright.
Yep. Much slower. Much slower.
Yeah.
He was missing shots, playing for free kicks. He was pretty average on Friday night, and I can't say I wasn't unhappy to see that.
Yeah, well said, mate. Well said.
And yeah, for me, best
Well,
on once again, Jordan Dawson. I was stressing a little bit at the end of the game because on the fantasy app it said Dawson injury, and then this week it's like, it's not, apparently it's not 100% to play, but had to wait and
He'll
see
be
what
fine.
happens there. He'll be fine. He gets the battle scars every week, and it leads from the front. And yeah, you just do dread the day that he does miss a game or two, and yeah, it's cannot be replaced. Basically, he's a generational Crows player.
I agree, but I
Yeah.
think we're better
No.
placed to be missing him now than we were like 2 years ago. Like they've got a bit more leadership around the club now, and I absolutely want him playing like the next few weeks. But if he needs a rest, probably after that like Saints game, I think we've got like, who have we got after the Saints game?
Well, we got
Oh no, that's
Carlton. We played Carlton
Brisbane
gather
away.
round.
Never mind.
I
Yeah, there's
think
probably not a rest coming up for the big fella for a while, actually, because I forgot that we actually have a tough run this year.
got
But
the next 2 games are the most difficult of the lot. Geelong in Geelong, and obviously Fremantle. I did touch on the other week. We have an awful record against Fremantle. Just the one win against them in the last, I think, 8 or 9 years now. It's just one of those underrated records. Freo have against us. We only play them really once a year though, so don't buy too much into it maybe. But at Adelaide Oval, you'd expect us to get a win.
you'd hope
I
so.
hope
I
so.
don't. I don't know if I can deal with bloody Justin Longmuir haram ball beating us. So we'll see.
Big time. Big time. All right. What we'll do now, we'll move on to some feedback from some of the listeners over on Facebook. And if you're listening and want to go share some feedback, jump in our DMs, jump in the comments, whatever. Go at Proper Crows Pod on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, wherever we are. Flick us a message, whatever. Pop some comments out there. We've got a couple. Janet, my auntie, shout out to you, said it was a hard watch at the end of the game, but some great text moments. Very true. Peter said, I'm shell-shocked. In quarter 1 and quarter 2, they did not move the ball with speed and some players were hesitant, then bombed the ball into the forward line. Players should not be backing off the man on the mark, waiting and looking, and then kicking, bombing over the man on the mark. Where is the play coming past for the handball? It was old-fashioned football. 50,000 supporters were not happy with Q4 umpiring decisions and missed free kicks. Bit of everything in that. Very well said. Facts. What have we got? Someone said this pit. Sorry, you go
I
ahead,
want
Dom.
to touch on something real quick with the umpiring.
Yeah.
obviously there were some decisions that went against us late in the game that not even late in the game, just I think a few big ones that I know we'll talk about in a minute because Matt wants to have a comment. But I think in general, it was just a very poorly officiated game as a whole because even some of the decisions that they were calling stuff that wasn't there and then they weren't calling stuff that was there.
Yeah,
And the most obvious thing I can think of was I think it was in the second quarter. Um, Butts had the ball in D50, gets tackled, takes him on, breaks it, gets stripped tackled again, drops the ball, not holding the ball. We pick it up, gets kicked to Saligo. He takes a chest mark and just gets it's like run it straight challenge. I can't remember who it was, but he just goes straight through him and the ball comes out, not a mark or a free kick. Um, and it's like they've missed two pretty obvious ones there back to back for both sides. Like it was just bad umpiring as a whole, I think. And
yeah,
yeah, we probably copped it in terms of it cost us a couple of goals, but it was just shit. The umpiring standard in footy at the moment is so fucked, and it's not great. It's
nah,
not great.
100%,
It's only going to get
100%.
worse.
There were some real dodgy ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on to the next comment, we've got John, who I don't know if this is sarcasm or not, but he's got a photo of a pretty decrepit-looking bus that says Crows and the wheels are falling off and it's all steamy and smoky and says this picture says it all. A bit drastic after round 2, but that's
So
all right. Thanks for the
we
comment,
lost to the
John.
premiership favourites by a goal, mate. Relax.
What have we got? Jason says too many turnovers and skill errors, and they scored mostly from that source. Chris says lost that one in the coach's box tonight. Should have brought in another tool for Murray and leave Thilthorpe forward, and then throughout the night puts Thilthorpe in the ruck and to have no tools in our forward line. Dumb coaching tonight. I tend to agree with that a little bit, and probably
Yeah.
weaves into what you said a bit earlier there, Dom, about Phil was probably up the ground a little bit too much and didn't get the chance to be forward.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our 3, 2, 1s for the votes. I'll start with you, Matt. Who is your one vote for this week?
I'll probably give it to Jordan Butts because there might be two other players above him, but actually, you know what? I'll give Jordan Butts the 2. I think he was one of the best. Well, it was his best ever game of the club, and just really, really stood out for me. And as for number 1, probably go Thilthorpe again, just because he smashed Sam Darcy as per usual.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Very good call. Dom, how about you, mate? Who gets your one?
I'm going to go Sam Berry. I think he was pretty influential in the midfield. And it was nice to see someone else step up rather than just fully relying on Dawson and really have a good game against a very, very borderline best in the AFL midfield. And they probably had the upper hand, but it was nice to see us break even. We'll get close to breaking even. I think Berry played a pretty big role in that.
Yeah, big time. Mine is somewhat controversial, but we did have a nice little spread at the top. I'm giving my one to Jordan Dawson, and he's probably very, very stiff to not have more, but there's a couple of blokes who I'll touch on in a second who I'm giving my 3 and 2, obviously. Dom, we'll go to your 2 because we've got Matt's 2 with Geordie Butts already.
Oh, I'm going Dawson at the 2. Big captain's goal in the last quarter. Started a bit slow, but really worked into the game well, had a few big moments. And again, he was pretty influential in getting us to within touching distance and eventually the lead. It's the same story every week. Jordan Dawson putting on a show and trying to drag us over the line. Had help for once, which was nice. But yeah, you can't take anything away from the great man. So he's got the 2.
Yeah, 100%. My 2, I'm going to give to Taylor Walker, just because he stood up early and kept us going and was that target up forward when no one else seemed to want to grab a hold of the game and the ball and kick goals, and obviously kicked that very clutch one late in the last. And we'll give a shout out to someone who gave him the ball in just a second. But Tex gets my 2. Matt, who gets your 3, mate?
Jordan Dawson, as I said, I think he was best on. I think that really the last quarter when he kicks a goal, I think from then onwards, obviously we didn't win the game, but it was just the momentum completely swung, and boys just really, really lift when Dawson gets going like that. And yeah, it's going to be another great season. Hopefully Dawson has the ball on the string as he does every week And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, it was one of those games. Dawson, captain's performance. Obviously, fourth quarter game wasn't there, but that last quarter when the Chips were down 25 points down at one point, and then to hit the front not long after, it was just on the back of the captain.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It was a very Brisbane 2025 sort of comeback in the last year, but obviously Brisbane didn't take their chances and we held on for the win in that occasion, which would have been nice on Friday, but that's all right. Dom, who's your three?
Jordan Butts. You just got to
Yeah.
give the man credit. Unbelievable. Club record for intercept, whether it's intercept marks or possessions, either one, it's an unbelievable feat. I think all the key defenders probably deserve a bit of a shout out because, like Norton and Darcy, I think they only kicked 3 between them. Maybe 4. I can't remember how many Darcy kicked, but I know Norton only kicked 1. Or it might have been the other way around. Anyway, I know they didn't do much. I think they only kicked 3.
Yeah,
But
Darcy only
yeah,
kicked
Butts
1.
was,
Yeah.
yeah. They all deserve a shout out, but Butts, it was a career best game. It was unbelievable.
Yeah,
And it gives us a nice selection headache when Mark Keane's fit again, I think.
I think
absolutely.
the big headache is if one of the key defenders we have aren't playing. It's obviously we're hearing rumours Josh Worrell is a potential laid out this week, and you do think who's going to stand up there? We got to take on the likes of Jeremy Cameron, and it's just
The big Egyptian will get it done, mate. Don't you worry about that.
As a James Borlass boycotter, well, I try to be. I can't fathom the idea of going all the way to Geelong to see that man on Jeremy Cameron, and without the idea of just getting the heck out of Geelong would be first bet. But I don't know. I was just saying this before the podcast. If Warren misses any of these next 2 games, we're looking potentially at 1 and 3. We've got to take on Jeremy Cameron 1 week, then Tracy the next week, and yeah, it would just be the most grim circumstance to have a key defender like that not play.
Wouldn't be ideal, that's for sure. My 3 as well, Geordie Butts as well. I couldn't go past him to get the 3 votes. He was incredible. Let's move on to proper good and proper crap. Of course, we went through with it last week and people enjoyed the little swing at Gary Lyon and the Vic media. That was nice. So we'll see if we can land something like that again. Let's start with our proper goods. Dom, let's go your proper good, mate.
Well, my boy that I've never said anything bad about ever, Luke Pedler, in that last quarter, breaking out of, I can't remember who the first tackle was, but breaking that one and then just going head first into Matt Kennedy, breaking that tackle as well, and then giving the handball off to Tex. Like, some of the greatest scenes I've ever seen on the hill at Adelaide Oval when that goal went through. And, Pedler, he played such a big role in it. He didn't necessarily have the biggest game, but, moments like that are just, they're rare. And it was one of the best efforts I've seen in a long time to get through those 2 tackles and still get the handball away cleanly. Can't understate it. It was incredible.
Oh, no, 100%, mate, 100%. He, was very, very good. And I'm glad to see some respect being put in his name. Sando called for it in the off-season as we
Yeah,
as we
mate,
heard
relax.
from
We'll
Dill.
see how we go in 3 weeks, won't we?
No, you are completely right. Matt, who is your proper good for the week, Matt?
Proper good. I mean, I didn't win the game, but the atmosphere at Adelaide Oval, I just have to say, I don't like glazing our fans too often because they don't deserve the glazing at times, but it was easily, I think, the best atmosphere we've had at Adelaide Oval, probably since that 2017 prelim. You just look at the goal reaction, Isaac Rankin after he kicks that goal. I've never seen limbs on the hill, and you're just like the whole sea of the hill and even the bay in front of it. Everyone is just going absolute mental. It's like, I even though we lost the game, it means nothing now. I just can't stop rewatching that goal. It was a thing of beauty.
I can't lie to you. I did the exact same thing last night. I was just laying in bed and I was just like over and over again. It was Texas goal and then Rankin's goal. And I'm just sitting there like, I can't believe we lost this game. But I just kept watching it. It was so good.
Yeah, it was just the moments, just those moments, and like you said, when Rankin kicked that goal, it was unbelievable watching. You see the hill get up and about, you see the spot in front of the hill get up and about, Look down the whole wing, everyone up and about. The
Yeah,
members were up and about. It was insane.
yeah,
But yeah, it was good to see Isaac back, and that feeds nicely into my proper good for this week. His goal and his celebration with everyone in front of him, getting around the fans. It was reminiscent of 2015 Eddie Betts in his pocket. It was special moment, and an incredible goal. Just how do you
yeah.
do that? How do you go off one step and just bomb it from 48 meters out and just tighten the boundary and just do it as easy as that? It was a spectacular goal. So it was good to see Isaac back. Good to see him getting around the fans and the fans getting around him as well. Let's move on to proper crap. Dom, what didn't you like this week other than obviously the result of the game?
Now, I've got two proper craps because I've just thought of another one that I want to bring up. First one's a
Yeah.
bit of a piss take. The Vienna hot dog stand behind the hill at Adelaide Oval. Get your shit together. Absolute fiasco trying to get a quarter-time glizzy back there. FPOS terminal going ham, declined like 5 times. One of us ended up getting a free hot dog because he scanned his card and then walked off, and it loaded for about a minute and then declined. And by the time we ended up actually getting the hot dogs, because we were waiting to pay, they were fucking cold. So, just get your shit together, Vienna hot dog stand. The other one, kind of funny based on what we just talked about, but there was a few gentlemen on the hill in the first few quarters that were just losing it. And were like, every time we had the ball in D50, they were like, just go up the guts, like, move the ball. What are you doing? Like, classic, like, boomer behavior. And, I understood the sentiment, but also you just want them to kick it up there for no reason. And then, halfway through the third quarter, we start trying to go through the middle, and they're like, oh, what are you doing? Why are you going up the middle? Go round. And I was just, oh man, I was losing it. I was like, lads, you got to pick it. You got to pick. You can't tell them to go like lateral and then tell them to go down the middle and then tell them to go lateral again. Like, just, they're going to critique
Yeah.
regardless, clearly, because they're a Crows fan. But man, it really pissed me off for some reason.
That's completely fair. The worst type of fan is when they say do one thing, they do that one thing, they're, oh, why are you doing that? Yep.
Yeah, it's like,
Yep,
no,
good
what are you
stuff.
doing? We're already down 4 goals. And it's like, yeah, how dare they take the game on now, bro? But yeah,
Yeah.
just one of those dumb things that just pissed me off.
Matt, how about you, mate? What's your proper crap moment from the week?
Yeah, proper crap moment. The Luke Pedler disallowed goal in the last quarter. I'm not going to name and shame the umpire because I can't be bothered researching the name or anything. But if I could name and shame an umpire, it'd be that absolute muppet to disallow what. I'm still trying to work out what was it the goal disallowed for. It was a beautiful front-on spoil into Luke Pedler, kicks a goal, puts us in front, and it's not quite Ben Keys 2023, but I'm just baffled. I've rewatched it a few times. It's the worst umpiring decision, non-goal I've seen since that goal against Sydney in 2023. It's if anyone can say what the reason for it was, that'd be much appreciated because I've rewatched it many times. It's an absolute disgrace. Umpiring in that moment, it's the preconceived idea that they wanted to get the Dogs over the line. Maybe a bit of match fixing there, but go on. It's
Christ.
Big
mate,
calls.
I'm over these big moments happening against us, and that umpire does not deserve to be employed by the AFL.
One thing that I think
Yeah.
is fair in terms of, I think there were 2 of them, the contact below the knees rule is such bollocks. Like, it needs to be more like, someone diving with their hands at the ball, winning the ball fairly, and like tapping it on is so much different to what the rule was intended for,
Mhm.
which was when players would slide in full body on their side and take players' knees out. Like, it's a massive difference to go from someone's hands and like elbows trying to fairly win the ball versus someone using their entire body to like bump your legs out of the way, basically. It just, I think I understand the premise of the rule, but I think it needs to be like, I don't know, it needs to be like altered a bit. And I guess that probably throws it up in the air because then there'll be calls that aren't made and calls that are that shouldn't be, but it's just a frustrating rule when it's interpreted that way, I think.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. I fully agree. Because I suppose the letter of the law, the free kick was there and it was the right
Yeah.
decision to call it back. But fuck, he hardly even hit him.
That's
That's the
the
most
issue. Like,
frustrating bit.
that's what I hate about it. Like, he was just fairly trying to win the ball. It's not his fault he got there first. It's not like he was like he posed little to no risk to that player's legs. Like, or
Yeah.
he would have just gone over the top of him. Like I said, it's such a big difference going from someone's arm to someone's waist or torso or something if they're sliding in. Like, it's just frustrating.
Yep.
Well, that sort of clears it up. I wasn't.
Yeah.
Didn't,
Frustrating is the.
Yeah, it's just you can generally lose count how many moments have gone against us in those sort of big time moments within the last 5 to 10 minutes in the last 20 years plus of sport in this club. Just does my head in. I think
Yeah.
if it's technically there, it's there, and I'm not going to dispute that because maybe you guys know the rules better than me, or you do know the rules clearly better than I do at times. But if this was another club, any maybe like at least 12 other teams and that happened to them, you're not going to give the free kick because it's all part of the moment. And the Crows once again used as the AFL's guinea pig when it comes to these umpiring decisions.
Yeah, look, it was stiff. It was very, very stiff and ruined some more limbs on the hill, mate. I don't know. Everyone was up and about for that one as well, obviously, because it put us in front. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
the life was sucked out real quick
I
as soon as that
will.
free kick was called.
I was about to say, like, as much as I laughed, Campaign kind of had a point in terms of relating it to that Ben Keys goal because it was almost the same feeling of like everyone celebrating, someone realizing it got called back, and then everyone being like, no, 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 he called a free kick, and everyone like turning around and losing it. Like, it was a very, very similar feeling. Like, obviously, no, fuck that. It was just as bad. I was as angry as I was at
Yeah.
that Sydney game. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
At least we kicked a
Yeah.
goal. We did kick a goal not long after it, so there's that. But
Yeah.
even then, the principle of disallowing a goal that late in the game for something so minor, it just does my head in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, very frustrating. I've also got two proper crap moments from this weekend, and we're going to start with, the shambles that was Saturday afternoon, speaking of non-Victorian clubs getting absolutely shafted. 29 seconds just disappeared from the game clock in the GWS St Kilda game. Gee, St Kilda run out 4-point winners in that. That's a shock. But how the fuck does that happen? I'm sorry.
Oh.
Like, they're using a digital system, I get it. But how hard is it to have a bloke that's, push button, start clock, push
Yeah.
button, stop clock. Oh, look, there's your 29 seconds. The
know-
time on the TV's off.
How does the timekeeper not notice as well? Like, how does he not go, 34, 33, 2, and like not question it? It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
It's,
I
yeah,
don't understand. It's a huge shambles, and if I was GWS, I would be, wrote a
I'd be
bullet at that.
fuming.
At least nice to see St Kilda on the right side of a time gate issue, I guess, this time, but that's all right.
Mm.
And my second one is just the Sunday fixturing in general. Obviously, this weekend is bad, but if you want to look forward to next weekend's fixtures as well, they don't get much better. So this weekend we had Port Adelaide taking on Essendon at the Adelaide Oval in what was the most boring contest you've ever seen, followed up by West Coast taking on North in the Sunday twilight fixture. This weekend, we're going to kick it off with Port Adelaide versus West Coast at the Adelaide Oval at 12:05 p.m. to just settle in for some great viewing. And then we'll finish that off with a 2:45 p.m. clash of Carlton and Melbourne at the MCG.
Oh boy, that's full graveyard shift hours. That is. That's a stinker. I will say though, that West Coast North game was like kind of good. Like, it was actually a good game of footy. Very, very low skill, and there was a bit of a aura about it in terms of as soon as West Coast actually started hitting targets, North couldn't score, and it was quite funny. But credit where credit's due, it was actually kind of entertaining. Still a stinker on paper, but
Yeah, it worked out well. And I think that Carlton-Melbourne game probably has the potential to be a little bit similar. There's some elements of excitement potentially in that. But on paper, you look at that and you go, Jesus, if I'm going to wake up Sunday morning hungover, I'm not flicking on Port versus West Coast.
yeah, straight up. I can't think of anything worse.
Nah. horrible stuff. Let's jump into the news. So a bit of injury news to start with. So Rory Laird is going to miss 1 to 2 weeks with a calf injury. Josh Worrell is a test for this week against Geelong with also a calf injury. Got a bit of treatment on that. Should be okay. Played out the second half, I think, with that. So should be all right. We'll see how we go. The big one is obviously Cal Archie is going to miss 4 to 6 weeks with a high, what was it, a high strain hamstring
High grade
injury.
hamstring.
That's the one I was thinking of. So yeah, he'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks, which we touched on earlier. And the last piece of news is Big Finbar Maley, the big man from North with the moustache, will be debuting this Thursday night against Geelong. That's been confirmed this afternoon, which is exciting. Exciting, like we said earlier. Excited to see what we can get out of him. What are our thoughts on the Big Fin, boys?
I think I kind of, based on what I said earlier, I'm excited to see how he goes because I haven't got that much to judge him off, I guess. So it's kind of a clean slate kind of game, which I think is probably a good thing. I think it's a cracking test on club debut, Geelong and Geelong. It doesn't really get much harder, regardless of form. It's always a tough away trip. And I'm keen to see what he's got because obviously there's going to be some serious competition when the big Texan retires, and if Finbar can put his hand up for that role, hopefully it eggs on the other two in Mitch Marsh and Archie Ludwig, and hopefully Darcy Fogarty decides to actually win a hard ball. It'd be nice.
Yeah, 100%. How about you, Matt? What are your thoughts on the Big Fin?
Obviously been a big personality at the club. Haven't really seen much of him, even his North Melbourne days. He played, I think, half of the games last year. I think the only big question is how good has he improved on his kicking, because a lot of North Melbourne fans, the salty North Melbourne fans that bother commenting on our stuff, they will say it's the worst kicking they've ever seen. If he can pop up forward, take a few big marks in the pack and score some goals, that'd be great. But you have to wait and see. It's obviously the hardest possible game to debut in for Crows. We haven't won in Geelong in 23 years, which is the only venue that still exists in the AFL. I've never seen us win at, to my knowledge.
Gee, that's impressive. That is very impressive. So we'll move into this week. So obviously Thursday night, as we've said, at GMHBA Stadium against Geelong, and not a happy hunting ground for us by any means. 2003, the last time that we won there, or 2002, Matt? Was it
Just
2 or 3?
We won in 02 and then again in 03. Both were under 2 or 3 goals. 2 years before I really started watching AFL. So yeah, no memory from me. There is that nice little shot of Gary Ez giving it large to the Geelong fans after we beat them in 02. Yeah. I think that I love watching that. But yeah, they've got no memories of us winning in Geelong, and we'd come close there a few times. 09 lost by 2 points. 2024 lost by 6 points. So yeah, it's never been pretty. I do believe the record as it stands is 14 losses in a row in Geelong.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, let's see if we can turn that around this week. It'd be a nice surprise to go down there and get a win, but we'll see. Other than the obvious, so Laird is obviously going to be out. Archie will be out. We're assuming Tex is probably rested. Who else comes into the squad, do we think? We've got the Big Fin coming in, probably Hugh Bond, you would assume, if he's well and back.
And then did you see that
Toby
tweet
Murray.
earlier that apparently Nank's coming in to play that wing role that Archie's been on? Not against that. I don't hate that at all.
No, I did see that. He's probably the next in line in terms of wingers, and there was a big rap on him in pre-season. So, he's sort of earned the spot, I guess, if he does come in. But I don't know, it's a bit of a different looking squad to what you would have been expecting going into round 1, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very as much as we joked about it, I'd never actually thought Finbar Maley would be debuting this early, let alone away in Geelong. But like we've said, no better test for him than hardest away trip in footy. So no time like the present.
Exactly right. We'll see what he's got. Matt, any thoughts, mate? Who do you want to see come in? Do you want to see anyone else go out, maybe even, or?
Hopefully no more outs. I think obviously Tex is the most likely that's going to be rested to come as Finbar comes in. I'd like to see Toby Murray come back in the team. I thought he was okay against Collingwood, but depends how tall we want to play up in Geelong. Yeah, I think Laird going out, which means Chase Jones likely stays in the team. I'm not too sure who's actually going to... You're shaking your head, Dom. What are your thoughts on Chase getting another 2 weeks at least if Laird is the like-for-like?
I got nothing good to say, man, so I'm just not going to say
All
anything.
right.
It's absolute charity.
Yeah.
But to be fair, there's probably not many players I'd play over him. Like, I'm not Charlie Edwards, not a
There we
chance.
go.
Sid Draper can't play the role, and he's not. I don't think he'd be fit enough for AFL anyway.
Well, actually, you say that on the injury report today, it did say he could be available for selection this week, Sid.
I think he'll be available, but I don't think they're going to throw him straight to the Wolves against Geelong at GMHBA because there's not really a role for him anyway. Like, you can't really play him in the role that Chase has been playing. Well, I mean, they could based on previous history. They probably fucking will, but they shouldn't play him in that role.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. Now, looking forward to the opposition, Geelong obviously coming off a very long break, didn't play last week. So, 16-day break compared to a 6-day break. Thanks very much, AFL. More good fixturing from you. Do we reckon historically Geelong have been bad off the bye? So, could that work into our favour?
They've been bad off the bye only midway through the year, where it's like...
that doesn't suit my agenda.
Doesn't suit our agenda.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that doesn't.
Yeah, it's not... I mean, if we continuing on with the proper omens that worked a treat the other week, 2009,
Exactly,
2009 we beat Collingwood away, and then we won interstate in round 3 against Freo. Obviously, Freo aren't anywhere near as good as Geelong have ever been, and also we won our round 3 game in 2005 as well. So I'm just scraping the bottom of the just scraping the bottom of the barrel now. But
we previously won a round 3 game.
Yes,
that's crazy.
We're locked.
There is no omens for this trip that's backing in our favour at all. We've never lost it. I was going to say we've never lost it Geelong on a Thursday night, but then I think we played them on a Thursday night once and lost. It's like
2014.
No, correction. We've never lost to them on a Thursday night in round 3
with Finbar Maley playing.
Yeah, with Finbar Maley in the side.
Deary me.
Oh God.
You'd have to scrape the absolute bottom of the barrel to find anything that might indicate we could win on Thursday, but you never know. It's a great chance to get a win there. I think we had such a good game against them Gather Round last year, but obviously that was in Adelaide. And even when we were bottom 4 in the Prove It season, we still nearly won in Geelong, so you never know.
I honestly think this is one of the best opportunities we're going to have to beat them. Like, they're not like they're obviously they're Geelong. They're always good, but I don't know. I've got this weird cautious optimism about this game. Probably not enough to warrant skipping uni to go like I was originally planning if we won on Friday night. But there's something in my head that's just telling me that we've never had an opportunity like this. For some reason, it just seems different. It seems like we're going to really take it to them, and I'm quietly optimistic. I think, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. I think they're not the powerhouse of last year. Obviously, they're still a very good team, like you said. But what the first half of Freo versus Geelong a couple of weeks ago down at GMHBA, we saw Fremantle just put belt to ass, and they fell apart in the second half. But that doesn't suit my agenda. So they're
pure Longmuir haram ball. Don't worry, nothing to do with Geelong.
Yeah, that's very true. Very, very true. But I don't know. I'm like you. I'm a bit cautiously optimistic. I think they're gettable. I mean, the last time we won down there, I was 4 years old, so I have no reason to be excited or optimistic about a trip to Geelong at any point. But we'll get up and about. We'll see what we can do, I guess. On that, what are our predictions, Matt? I'll start with you. Who wins? How much? Give us a first goal scorer as well.
I reckon Geelong by 23 points. First goal scorer, I will say Isaac Rankin.
All right, at least you've kind of saved it there. I'll take that.
Dom, how about you, mate?
I'll back us in tight. I'm going to go us by 7 points. and a big Finbar Maley goal at the start of the game to get us up and about early. I reckon that's a nice recipe for a good start, I think.
Absolute tears if that happens. Yeah. Look, I want to back us in. I really do.
Don't do it, bro.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's go Crows by 4.
I'd say don't become the
And
thing you swore to destroy. Shrimp.
anyone seen if Darcy's kicked more goals than Phil, by the way? Or
No.
but no, let's back us in. We'll go the Crows by 4 points, and I like the big fin bar for the first goal as well. That it's just
Original, mate. Real
yeah,
original,
no.
you hero.
Look, we were both thinking it as soon as you was named. We had to follow it. There will be Australian currency placed on it as well because
Yeah, well
it
said,
has
well
to be
said.
done. Simply
For
has to
free
be.
and confidential support, contact number
Exactly.
and bio, etc.
Gambling helpline. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So consensus it is basically 2 against 1. The Crows are winning Thursday night. Simple as that. Big Finbar's kicking the first. Heard it here first. Simple. Anything else you boys want to touch on with either last week or this upcoming week before we head off?
I think I got it all out earlier, to be honest. I think I'm excited for some. I'm excited. Like, I know we lost on the weekend, but I'm still excited. Normally, I'm a bit glum going into the next game after a loss, but I'm up and about still. I'm confident. I'm excited.
Still got that early season gloss on it, doesn't it? Where it's like, oh, footy's back, sick. How good's this? It doesn't matter where we're playing.
Yeah.
We're into it. How about you, Matt?
I'm still optimistic, even though I said we're going to lose. But I'm just happy we're not going to start the year 0-3. I was dreading that, definitely playing those 3 very hard games to begin with: Collingwood, Bulldogs, and Geelong. But 1 and 2 is not the end of the world, and hopefully we can avoid a loss against Freo. I'll happily take 2-2 heading into gather round if that's the case.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
That's very good.
One of the only intelligent things that a certain pants has ever said was 2 and 2 going into gather round is probably a pretty good spot to be in going for top 4. And I think I actually agree with him. So well said, mate.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thank you very much for jumping on, Dom.
No worries, mate. It's always a pleasure.
Same time next week after a big win.
Yeah,
absolutely. And Matt, thank you very much for jumping on.
Been a pleasure. Look forward to coming on, hopefully after a win in Geelong, but you never know.
Definitely so. And thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Of course, our review of this game will be out probably Monday morning or Tuesday morning next week, pending how we go. Give us a follow at Proper Crows Pod on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all of the different social medias. Get around it. Get around the boys on Thursday night if you're not travelling down to Geelong and you have a brain. That's good start. But get around and watch it on the TV. I think it's 7:15 start or something like that Thursday night. But hopefully the boys can get up. We'll see how we go. Stay tuned to the socials for any news that comes out. Selection news on tomorrow night we'll have up. Tomorrow night, it's Monday. Wednesday night we'll have up. But other than that, go Crow.
Go Crows.
Go Crow.
Bring